Hello, this video is to walk through the Potter's House Church app. So we like to make these videos walking through apps because there's so many different things you can do with the church app, and we don't want you to miss out on a single thing. So to begin with, I'm going to go ahead and press the icon and dive into the app. So every time you open the app, you're going to be taken to this home screen initially. And on the first time you use the app on iPhone, you'll have a pop-up come up asking you if you want to accept push notifications. We highly advise you to accept those because push notifications are probably the number one way for Potter's House to be able to communicate with you. And not only should you accept that, but we also advise that the first time you use the app, you'll see in the top right hand corner of the screen, and this will be on both Android and iOS, there's a little paper airplane there. So I'm going to go ahead and press that, and you can see it takes me into a screen where I can not only see the control for allowing notifications in general, but I also have a few extra categories here, including women's ministry, men's ministry, youth group, and celebrate recovery. And I can opt to receive notifications that are sent specifically to those groups. And what this does is it allows the Potter's House to obviously send notifications out to the whole church, and that means anybody that has allow notifications turned on will receive those notifications. But it also allows Potter's House to be able to send out notifications, say specifically to one of these ministries, and that way multiple notifications can be sent out a week, but the notifications can be targeting specific ministries, so only the people that want to receive those notifications receive them. So as an example, all I do is just toggle on women's ministry and youth group, and now I will receive notifications about those. And I'm going to go back, and real fast, I'm just going to show you what it looks like as a notification comes through. So I'm actually going to send a notifications to the women's ministry, and I just sent it, so you'll see it come in here in 1 second, and there it is. It's a notification about joining us for an event. So you could see I touched the notification and it brought up these additional details. So this is part of what makes notifications so powerful is obviously you don't even need to be in the app or have the app open for the notification to come through, but then you can tap the notification and you can receive extra details. So in this case, you can see this is an example notification as if there was a ladies luncheon, and the notification saying, hey, if you're new, hey, go ahead and fill out our new here form so we can get more information and know how to better connect with you. And then all I would do is select the details button, and it would take me out of the app. I'll just go ahead and do that. It'll take me out of the app, and I can go ahead and view the new here or the new here form, and I can fill that out. Now this is just one example of new here. Obviously new here is not applicable for most people, but it could also say, hey, sign up for this event, get more details about this Sunday. It could be any sort of link, and it doesn't even necessarily need to be a link. It can just take you to more details for that notification. And that's just a small picture of how important push notifications will be. So make sure to have those both turned on, and also go to that paper airplane section and just take a look there and toggle on everything that is relevant to you and your family. So now, like I said, we're here on the home screen, so you can see a grid of tiles here, and at the bottom of the screen, you can see tabs, which are the core areas that are available to you no matter where you are in the app. And those are home, media, which is like sermons, prayer, which is the prayer wall, the ability to give, and sermon notes. So let's go ahead and dive into those tabs at the bottom of the screen first. So I'm going to press the media button. And this takes me to the recent sermons that have been posted by Potter's House. So I can go and navigate through any sermon I want. So let's go ahead and go to, as each part does its work. I touched that sermon, and sorry, I'm going to go ahead and now disable my notifications so you don't keep seeing Amazon notifications come up. You can now see, you have the ability to, if there's a video, you can watch the sermon, and otherwise, you can listen to the sermon, and there's a button to the right of the listen button, which gives you the ability to download that sermon. So I like to run, and it makes a lot more sense for me to go running with the sermon downloaded so I'm not streaming it over LTE. So what I would do is press the download button so that then the sermon is downloaded and I can listen to it while I run without streaming it. But in this case, let's just go ahead and press the listen to audio button, and this is what it looks like when you stream. So since I'm streaming, you can see it has to buffer a bit, and this will take just a few seconds as it buffers, and this is just a normal, anytime you stream, this sort of thing happens. You're used to seeing this on Netflix, any sort of audio when you don't download it. And you can see now I am playing the sermon. You can see that. You can see as soon as it played, because you can see there's this funny animation of the graphic kind of bubbling out and bubbling in to show you that you're listening. You can see that there's a scrub bar right below that image, and you can see it counting up 16, 17, showing you how far into the sermon we are. So if I wanted to scrub to a certain section, I can touch on that scrub bar and drag to any point in the sermon I want. And you can see even the time there animates out of the way, allowing you to be able to scrub but still see the time that that you have selected. And then as soon as you let go, it just starts playing there. You can see also to the right and the left of the pause button, you have the ability to jump ahead 30 seconds or the ability to jump back by 15 seconds. And below that, you have the ability to change the volume. Now, at the very bottom of the screen, that volume button and that share button, depending on what type of phone you have, that section may be there or may not be there. That section is to help with the iPhone 10 screen where you have a lot more screen space, whereas if you have a little iPhone 5, which completely understandable why you'd have that, but it doesn't leave as much space for stuff like that. So if I leave this playing, and then you can see at the top, there's like right above that image, there's an arrow pressing down. I press that. You can see now at the bottom of the screen, you can see the sermon is still playing. There's the graphic. It says what the sermon name is, and there's a pause and an X button. So if I press the home button, now I'm in the home section, but you can see if I scroll down, it actually takes into account that the player is there now. So this player will follow me all around the app, and I can pause and play from anywhere I want. So if I press the pause button, you can see now there's a play button because I've paused it, and play at any point. I can pause and play while I'm navigating through the app, making it very easy to control what you're listening to from anywhere. And if I touch the title of the sermon, you can see from anywhere in the app, I can actually pull up the player, and you can see it continues to play. And access it if I wanted to scrub around or something like that. I'm going to go ahead and minimize it. I'm actually going to leave it playing here just to show you how this is even more powerful. So you can see the right tab. So the very bottom right corner of the screen is a notes button. I'm going to go ahead and press that, and you can say this takes me in to the sermon notes. Now I'm still listening to the audio. So let's say I missed church on a Sunday. On Monday or Tuesday or whenever that audio is posted, I can come in here and look at the notes from Sunday, and I can listen to the audio from Sunday, and I can actually take my own personal notes while I'm listening to the message. Obviously, works a lot better to be at church for the community. I mean, why we're at church. Still, this gives you the ability to be able to take notes and listen if that's something you want to do. And you can see to the left of that Ephesians passage, there's a little symbol, and that is to indicate that a note's been taken on that section. So if I touch anywhere in that Ephesians passage, you can see right there, I have the note that I've taken, which says, I love this passage about Ephesians. And that's actually been saved in the app until notes are posted in the future. So once the sermon's finished, so let's go ahead on the notes today at the top, which is the title of the sermon. I'm just going to write, this is the title. That is not the type of note you'll be taking on a Sunday, but you can see now another symbol is next to notes today, showing I've taken a note on that part, and I've taken a note on the Ephesians part. So once the message is finished, I can press the email sermon button, and it brings up the sermon to email myself, and you can see notes today, which is the title, and I say this is the title, and it marks it out very obviously that it's a personal note. You can see glad you're here. There's the Ephesians passage, and then there's the note I took on the Ephesians passage. So you can see it actually takes the personal notes that I took and puts them in line inside of the sermon outline, and then I can just email these notes to myself. And this is really cool. We've heard some awesome stories from people who have set up folders in like Gmail, and then they email it to themselves, and it automatically sends the sermon to their that folder, and then they have all of the sermon notes they've ever taken there in Gmail in a safe place where they can easily access it, where while obviously some people love taking handwritten notes, but the problem is then you're writing in the margins, whereas in this case you have as much space as you want to take notes. And also you can so easily lose that paper, whereas now you can make infinite copies of it and you have it saved to a safe place, showing you the power of both the sermon notes and how the sermon notes can work together with the audio sermons to give you a really neat experience if you're not able to make it to church on a Sunday because of traveling or for whatever reason. So now I'm actually going to go ahead and shut the play button. I'm going to push the X button there in the bottom right corner, and watch, you'll see the magnifying glasses above that will actually shift down, showing how the entire app accounts for the fact that that player is open. And by the way, if you want the font to be bigger or smaller, you can use those magnifying glasses to make the font bigger or smaller. And then the next time you use the app will remember that you did that and will stay at the font size that you set. So for the tabs, next of all, let's go ahead and press the prayer button. And this takes you to the prayer wall for Potter's House. Now the prayer wall is one of the coolest features because this gives you the ability to post prayer requests, to read other people's prayer requests, to indicate you're praying for other people's prayer requests, and to even leave comments and encouraging words for other people's prayer requests. So you can see here we have have 4 different prayer requests posted right now, and not all of them are requests because you can see on the far left-hand side of each of those, they say prayer. I'm sorry, they say praise with a heart, which means this is a praise, or you can see it says request, which means this is a prayer request. So I can touch the text for any of those. So for the top one, for Sammy there, I'm going to go ahead and touch the text, and it takes me into the details. And you can see that Helen has actually replied saying, woohoo. And you can see you can even use emoji in these. And right below the prayer request, you can see a heart, a symbol with a speech bubble, and an exclamation mark. And that shows the different things you can do. So a heart means, and as I go back here, you can see a heart means it indicates you're praying. And I'm going by what you see right below the banner there that says prayer wall at the top. A heart indicates you're praying. The speech bubble indicates that you have replied. And an exclamation mark indicates you flagged it. And I'll explain what that means here in a second. So for the heart, you can see for the top one, it's blue. And if it's blue, that means I've already done it. So if I press the heart next to the number 4 there for the top request, it will say, hey, you're already praying. You can't indicate you're praying again. And what's really cool about this is that shows you 4 people have said they're praying for this request, and that is not the same person pressing it 4 times. That means 4 people have actually indicated they're praying. And then the speech bubble next to it with a 1 indicates 1 person has even replied to their request. And it's not me because it's not blue. So if I go ahead and press that speech bubble myself, I have the ability to go ahead and type a reply. So I type my name in as far as my name, press next, and say, awesome. I'll just put, actually, no, I'll put awesome and this dude. And then I'm going to go ahead and press submit reply. And now you can see I have my reply below Helen saying awesome with the sunglasses. And now you can see the speech bubble is colored blue, indicating now I have taken that action as well. So now 2 people have done it, and I am one of them because you can see it's blue. Whereas below that, for Jessica's request, I have done nothing. So I want to read Jessica's request here. And it's talking about having a second child, juggling a lot for the holidays, and just, oh, cool. So it's talking about needing prayer so that her focus can be right over the holidays. That's really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and press the heart. That easy. I have indicated I'm praying. When I go back, you can see here, the heart is now blue. It's now 3, and it indicates that I have said I'm praying for that request. So this is a really cool way that you can just go through and indicate what you're praying for, reply, and just read other prayer requests. And I can say from my own personal experience in my church, I actually use this prayer wall during my prayer times to just go through what new requests are here, pray for them, and then to also reply when it makes sense. So it's a super powerful and something that we actually utilize at our church for the primary way we can handle public prayer requests. Obviously, you don't always want a public prayer request, but for public prayer requests, this is the primary way that we handle them. Now, we talked about the exclamation mark there on the right. So we have the heart, the speech bubble, and the exclamation mark. For the Shonda prayer request, I'm just going to press it, but I'm not going to actually have it happen. You can see it says delete your prayer request. So I actually made this prayer request. Now, if I hadn't made it, like this bottom one from John, you can say it says flag this prayer request. Most of the time, this is what you're going to see. It says, do you want to flag this prayer request because it contains inappropriate content? You should only use this button if there's something offensive about the prayer request. Sometimes you can be typing something, it'll autocorrect to something like a swear word, or maybe the sentence makes no sense. It ends up seeming like it means something bad. Well, here, you can come in here and flag it. And the reason to have this is that it allows the system so that for this app, if enough people flag a request, it will automatically delete the request from the app. And the idea here is you don't want to have your staff spending all of their time moderating a prayer wall. And the goal is that this allows for the church as a whole to be able to moderate the prayer wall. But the key here is that everyone shouldn't be going in here and spamming the exclamation mark button and deleting everything. Only press that button if there is an issue. But remember, on the Shonda request, I actually had a different message come up. It said delete your prayer request. So I made that prayer request. And the cool thing here is the app keeps track of if you made the request. And if you do any action like making a prayer request, you can delete it immediately because you don't want to accident. Let's say you made the prayer request and you're like, oh no, I accidentally wrote a swear word, like it autocorrected. Well, obviously you want the ability to be able to go in there and delete that. So it gives you the ability to immediately handle your prayer request, but to just signal a warning for others so that if enough people warn one, well, then it will automatically be deleted. Last of all, in the top right corner, you can see there is a pencil. If I select that, this takes me into where I can make a prayer request. So you can see I have the ability to make a prayer request or a praise report. Let's go ahead and make a praise report. I'll say my name is Josiah, and then I'll say, I love this prayer wall. It is fantastic. So that's my praise. And let's say, man, and I'm actually being honest with you here. I can't remember if I said it was a prayer request or praise. So at the top there, you can see there's the 1, the 2, and the 3. You can jump back to any step of this process of prayer type, personal information, or prayer details. So I want to go back to prayer type because I can't remember what I did. And I want to make sure I say praise report. My name is Josiah, and I'm going to select submit prayer. And you can see right there at the top, I love this prayer wall. It is fantastic. It's right there ready for people to be able to post on it. So that shows you what the prayer wall is capable of, and it is such a cool tool for being able to pray for each other at Potter's House. Last of all, at the bottom of the screen is the give button. I'm actually not going to press that right now. It would just take me out of the app to where I can give to the Potter's House, so that gives you very easy access to that. So with all of the tabs covered, I'm going to go ahead and go back to home because we have a bunch here, and there's a few here I'm not going to talk about. So for instance, website, the top left one, that gives you access to the Potter's House website. Who I am, or who am I, in the top right corner gives you access to the Who Am I section of the Potter's House website. New visitors gives you access to that form we looked at, which is the form that new visitors can fill out. Facebook gives you access to Facebook. Instagram gives you access to Instagram. I think that goes, oh, in the bottom right corner, Right Now Media gives you access to sign up for Right Now Media. So that kind of gives you a quick jump through of all the ones that don't really have native functionality, but just give you access to content, which is very important for the Potter's House. But let's go ahead into the top one there for events. I'm going to select that, and this shows you all of the events coming up at Potter's House. And you can see there's an add to calendar button. You might think to yourself, why would there be an add to calendar button when I'm already looking at the calendar? Like, why would I add? And the idea here is not that you're adding to the Potter's House calendar. You're adding the event from the Potter's House calendar to your device calendar. So with the press of a button, I'm going to go ahead and go to the competent counselor. I'm going to say add to calendar. And the first time you ever do this, you'll have it come up saying, Potter's House would like to access your calendar. So you have to allow that for it to be able to add to your device. So I'm going to go ahead and press OK, and you'll see event added. So now that event has been added to my device calendar, which will then also, I have that linked to my wife's calendar. So now that links to my calendar, to my wife's calendar. So I can quickly scroll through this list and add every event that's relevant to me and my family to my calendar. And in a matter of like 1 minute, I can pick out all of the events and add them to my calendar, which is really neat because usually you only have the ability to sync an entire calendar to your calendar. But this lets you just hand pick the events that make sense for your family, which is a really cool and powerful way to be able to do this. And that's really the power of it. If there is more information for an event, you can press the information button and it will give you additional information for that event. But you can see in this case, most events just say there are no additional details for this event. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the home section now that we've gone through events. And let's jump down a few rows because like we said, website, Who Am I, new visitor, Facebook, and Instagram are all things that will just link to content outside the app. Let's go to small groups. So small groups is a section that allows you to find a small group, to contact the leaders of a small group, and to even sign up for a small group. So I'm going to press small group. And you can see this takes you to a map at the top of the screen, as well as a list of all the groups. And that list can actually contain pictures of the group. You can see a group has been added for Raymond and Robin with a custom image there. But in general, all of them right now just have the Potter's House logo. But what I can do here is this map at the top, it's actually interactive where I can zoom in, zoom out. And while none of these actually have an address associated with them, you can get a very good idea of where each of these are. So if you want to search for a group by location, let's say I live in the section around D, I can then touch D. It scrolls D to the top of the screen there, so you can see Tim and Shauna Thompson. I apologize, Tim and Shauna, if I pronounce your names wrong, but Tim and Shauna Thompson there is the group that seems best for me because that's around where I want to go. So now I have the ability to call them. I can email them, or I can even press the sign up button and sign up for a group. So this gives you the ability to search by, if you want to search by time, so you can see below Tim and Shauna's name is it's Mondays at 6:30. So if instead you want to scroll through this list and find a time that makes sense for you, you can search by that. You could search by picture if more pictures are added, or you can search by locations. This is a really powerful way. I keep saying powerful, but this is such cool tools to be able to access different things that Potter's House has available. So this is a great way to be able to search for, sign up, or contact the leader of a small group. So I'm going to go ahead and press the back button now that we've jumped through that. Next up is worship playlist. So worship playlist actually links into a Spotify worship playlist. So using the Spotify app. So if you don't already have the Spotify app, when you press that button, it will tell you, hey, you need to download the Spotify app to be able to use this feature. If you already have it, which I do, I'm going to go ahead and press it, and it will dive into Spotify. And you can see I didn't even have the Spotify app open there. It dove right in to Potter House Worship, and I can start shuffling to play. Now, I actually have a free account. So all of this, you might hear me say, oh, you need to have the Spotify app, blah, 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 and think, oh, I have to pay to do this. No, you can have, this is actually a free version of Spotify. I can jump in here and just start shuffling to play Potter House Worship. And Potter House can actually update this list, or this worship playlist, as often as they want. I know at my church, we actually update our playlist to match up with the current set list that we rotate through. So it can be like the 20 songs that we're playing week to week. Like we mix and match week to week for a few months, and then we can kind of change that playlist around. But this is a great way where you could actually start playing, and then you could head back. Then you can head back here while it's playing, and you could go to the prayer wall, and you could actually go through prayer requests while you're listening to that playlist. Just showing another way that you can mix and match areas of the app to create really neat worship experiences. Next up is the call us button. I don't really need to press that. I think you understand what that does. The Bible button will actually take you into the YouVersion Bible app, into the Bible, just giving you really easy access. So if something's happening in the app and you're like, man, I want to check that out. Let's say there's a sermon, something happens in the notes, and you want to cross-reference it, you can go ahead and say, I'm going to jump over here and press the Bible button, and it will take you right into, you can see I had actually been in a Bible reading plan, but you can see it took me into the app and automatically opened the Bible. I didn't press any additional buttons to get here. It took me right to Matthew 1, which is the last place I was reading. The important thing here is it doesn't take you to a specific passage and mess up whatever you were reading. It takes you to wherever you were last reading, and obviously in the YouVersion Bible app, you can choose from so many different versions of the Bible. So if you wanted to cross-reference or something, that gives you the ability to do something like that. Um, so if you don't have the YouVersion Bible app downloaded already, just like with the worship playlist in Spotify, the app will prompt you to download it and will actually take you where you need to download it on either iOS devices or Android devices. So it'll help you go through those steps. And then once you download it, like you can see, it took me directly in. So last of all, because we already talked about Right Now Media, last of all is the reading plan. So I'm going to go ahead and press the reading plan. And this takes me into the daily reading. You can see at the top there, it says reading for day 3 of week 3. So I'm actually on week 3 of the reading plan and day 3 of week 3. And the way this reading plan is designed is to have 5 days of reading. And the goal here is to make it easy to dive into a reading plan. So it's not like if you miss 1 or 2 days of the week, you feel like you're falling so far behind that you want to give up. But instead, it makes it very easy to stay up to date and just asks you to read for 5 days of the week. And then all you do is touch the passage for the day, and you can see that the scriptures right here built in. Once again, you have the magnifying glass, so you can zoom in and zoom out, and then below the magnifying glass, you can see a backwards and forwards button. So if I press the forward button, I've now finished today's reading. You can see there's a check mark there showing that I've read, and then when I come back into the app tomorrow, it will automatically take me to day 4 of week 3, making it very easy for me to continue reading without even having to think about it, just automatically take me to the next day. You can see in the top right-hand corner, there's that clock with an arrow going around it. The reason for that is perhaps you don't even know about, or someone doesn't even know about the app. They come to Potter's House 3 weeks from now, 3 months from now, and there's a group of people reading through the Bible in a year, which is what this plan is designed for. And some people invite them to join them reading through the Bible. Well, instead of having to flip through every single day of the week to catch up with them for 3 months, you can use this button and it will let you jump to any week and any day. And then the app will remember that and treat you as if you have actually read to that point and just start there. So this allows you to easily jump ahead and join any group that's already reading the plan, making it a really nice plan for both. Like I said, not a lot of pressure, easy to read. There's actually a memory verse for the week. So that's for the week. It stays the memory verse for the week instead of a memory verse that changes every day. And it also makes it very easy to join a group that's reading. So that takes you through everything that you can do with the Potter's House app. Hopefully, it's opened your eyes to some of the really cool things you can do, and even better, some of the ways you can mix and match things you can do to get really great worship experiences.